All right, welcome back, everybody. The final round of the 2020 First Citizens National Poetry Slam will be broadcast on Sunday, 27th September at 7:30 p.m. and will also be live streamed. So check out National Poetry Slam TT on Instagram and FCNPS on Facebook for more details on where you can view the broadcast and live stream on Sunday. In light of the pandemic, the continuation of this year's competition has had to take the form of a television broadcast executed by producers of the National Poetry Slam, Focus Lit Fest, and title sponsor First Citizens, in collaboration with long-standing media partner. Now, 12 competitors advance from the semi-final round to face off against defending champion Alexandra Stewart. This country's top tier in spoken word will, for the fourth consecutive year, vie for the winner's road jackpot of $80,000 courtesy First Citizens Bank, Slam sponsor since the event's inception in 2013. And now we will chat with Alexandra. Good morning.
Good morning.
So you are the defending champion, and you know what it's like to sit in the top chair. Now, the results have not come out yet, but tell me, what has your experience been like this year?
Well, this year was definitely a lot different than years before, as expected, with it being televised and, the COVID changes, the social distancing. So the energy behind stage was a lot different as opposed to years before. And I think perhaps the most startling change was the lack of audience.
Right.
I think as poets, when we go on stage, that's one of the things that we look forward to, the audience reaction, the claps, the screams, the shouts. And so this year, I definitely missed the supporters that I'd usually see there. I missed their voices, I missed their reactions. But I just focused on the judges as being my audience and trying to give 100% of my performance for them.
How challenging was it for you, like mentally, to make this change and this adjustment?
Well, I mean, it takes a lot of flexibility, a lot of praying. It could be very frustrating at times, but I think that when conversations are had to figure out how best to work for everybody on the team, you'd get the best result.
How challenging was it preparing for the competition, especially with the 5-month delay due to the pandemic?
Preparing was a bit difficult, but I have a pretty strong routine. I think it's a lot of practice, a lot of editing, a lot of remaining focused on what my purpose is, what my message is, what my why is. And so I just try to keep that in focus. And of course, I had the support of my family and friends who check in.
Did you ever feel like you were at a disadvantage for not having the opportunity to perform before the finals, unlike the other competition?
Do you know that's something that I think about a lot in terms of the defending champion? Because I've seen from years before and wondered if they missed that opportunity. I definitely did. I missed having that semis warm-up of sorts to really get you ready for the finals and get you accustomed. But since this year there was no audience, it was like there wasn't that pre-audience practice interaction section anyway. But I suppose they would have gotten accustomed to performing to an empty room or a room with only judges in them. So that was a first for me on the stage.
Well, you said you miss having the audience and the reaction and stuff like that, but how was it performing without the audience? But there were like 1,200 people looking on via the online platform.
Well, I tried to keep the audience in my mind. The people that I know are always in the seats. I try to imagine them. I also try to think of the judges as my audience and myself as my audience. And so just because there are less people in a room doesn't mean you give less of a performance. You still give 100% because each individual, they matter in the context of listening to your poem. So I really try to give it my full effort.
Yeah, that's right. And there was a viewership of like 1,200, as I was saying. So although they're not in the room with you, they're still all eyes on you. So I could only imagine. And you know what? We do actually have a clip of your performance, so we're going to take a look at that right now.
The name's Artist, starving artist, and yes, this is my 9th time on this stage for this evening. But I have a question about this absurd E-word every artist has heard when it comes to the talk of payment. I need to know how to use it to pay rent. I need to know if it's worth even 2 cents. Can anybody tell me the exchange rate for exposure? Anybody check if First Citizens let you cash it in like checks in purse? Citizens would make Maximan vex and curse, or worse, end up extinct like T-Rex in hearse. If instead of pay, they just say, "Thanks, Drive, you was real good." Yesterday, this starving artist went into the all-you-could-eat buffet, placed an order, tried to pay, and then the cashier said, hey, we don't take payment that way, so I put the exposure back in wallet, back in back pocket, and crawled home on broken belly to belch out this poem. The first draft was not just upset stomach, but whole body furious. It was the sharp nail of a gas pain, but I can't drink the tea if I'm about to spill it. And you can't recommend Lipton after my lips done split to spit a rhyme to trip a guilty mind, because whoever feels like I owe them are not coming to perform in your show them. I am here to show them clarity. Unless it is for charity, don't ask me to perform for free bout. Plenty people will see. Because if you check the dictionary currently, exposure is not a form of currency. So before you ask, I gone. Before you ask, I gone like current, be like current gone, because you can't see your free performances costing me. And when I object, you want to be accosting me? Somebody please explain. Well, they're quick to put the artist's name in the program, but not in the budget. And when you state your price, cheap and nice, they still try to make you budget like cost is the same as a countdown, like they don't know when you hit zero, the only thing left to do is blast off or stay. Because we've all done gigs for next to nothing pay. Now, nothing is wrong with an exchange based on mutual admiration. I'm not up here about talking collaboration. It's the straight-up exploitation when they're paying for everything else, right? The stage, the food, and the spotlight. But if I rage, I rude, so it's tough life. But it's not like we out here trying to make a killing. We out here trying to make a living, trying to make sure we could have a place to live in. We all want to buy a house in Freetown, but even they know you can't pay the light man with a song. By the way, the recipe for a clap is just 2 empty hands. You think your applause makes it hurt less? Just admit you think my work is worthless because I don't work at clerk desk, have the audacity to ask me. But when you get in a real job, so because you're making dollars between 8 to 4, that's also the only time you making sense. My job is 24/7. When last you worked past 11 and we might be starving artists, but our art is worth more than your cheese puff and chubby, so no. You cannot pay us with refreshments, buddy. You think that's what we mean by let's get this bread? And if you're shaking your head and you're offended, then you're exactly the person to whom this is intended. Because when we put our growling stomachs to the mouth of this microphone, the only thing you have to cook up is excuses. We're falling down for this. You tell me what the use is. I believe it's time for the starving artist to finally eat.
Alexandra, that was your piece from last year. It was absolutely brilliant. And I see I hear the crowd reaction, and I could only imagine the exhilaration that you feel from that. But, of course, the exhilaration is not enough as taken from your poem. You need, a little dollars and cents at a pass, right?
It was definitely an intense experience, I think, and there were even points in the poem I felt I had to quiet the audience because we were being so strictly timed. It's like, no, guys, scream afterwards. So it was a really intense experience, and I did miss their voices this year. But it just made for a unique experience to slam, and so I just embraced that aspect of it.
And, again, we just have to all roll with the punches, and again, look forward to all your work that is to come. And with that, I want to say thank you so much and all the very best. I know the results aren't out just yet, but I want to wish you the very best and, continue your craft.
I do appreciate that. I think one of the things that I admire most about spoken word is the conversations that start. And so ever since that video came out, people have been on my Instagram at Talk to the Through or Facebook at Alexandra C. Stewart telling me what they think about the poem, and I appreciate that so much.
All right, and with that, Alexandra, I want to thank you so much for joining us this morning. All the very best, and, We'll hear some good news coming soon.
I hope so. Have a great day.
All right, you too. All right, that was Alexandra Stewart, who's the defending champion of the First Citizens National Poetry Slam.
I love her hair.
Yeah, and even when she was just speaking there, just now it sounded like poetry.
Confidence.
No, but just now, when she was just saying thank you and whatever, it sounded like poetry to me.